Ministry of Higher Education of Malaysia. Now, today, with the pandemic going on, instructors are facing challenges in terms of face-to-face educational functions and activities are being moved online using remote working sites and tools. Now, many of us are struggling with the adjustment to working and teaching online, especially those who have taught in a traditional classroom and are now being asked to rapidly regroup and prepare for a longer period of educational social distancing. Now, where do you begin? How do you manage the process? How should you interact with your students? How do we establish a community of inquiry? What is the role of the instructor as a moderator in a discussion? Now, to address these questions and many others, we have here again Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy Dewitt, who is an Associate Professor in the Curriculum and Instructional Technology Department, University Malaya. She's also a recipient of the Endeavour Executive Fellowship from the Government of Australia. She was formerly with the Educational Technology Division, we know as Bahagian Teknologi Pendidikan, Ministry of Education Malaysia, where she was involved in the Smart School pilot project in change management and managing the development of digital materials during the project. In addition, she was involved in the research management and promotion of innovation in instruction. She has been involved in research in collaborative and mobile learning since 2007 and is looking at designs of instructional systems that encourage problem solving, communication, and collaboration using cognitive tools and technologies for schools, higher education, and training. Her PhD thesis explored the possibility of collaborative learning using mobile technologies for a mobile learner to enable learning to occur anywhere and at any time using the collaborative M-learning framework, which is even more relevant at this point of time. She was appointed as consultant in projects related to curriculum acceptance, 21st century learning, and has been involved in 11 training programs for technology, pedagogical content knowledge at Academic Enhancement and Leadership Development Centre, ADEC, University Malaya, as well as conducting workshops and training programs in 21st century learning and blended learning, both locally and internationally since 2015. Recently, she has expanded her expertise to VR in education. She's also the e-learning coordinator at her faculty. Now, without further ado, I'll turn the presentation to Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy Dewitt with her presentation, Establishing a Sense of Community and Creating an Online Presence when Teaching Online. The floor is yours, Dr. Dorothy.
Thank you, Dr. Uma. Thank you for inviting me here. Okay, good morning, everybody. Okay, nice to see you again, although I can only see Dr. Uma, but I virtually can see you and am in touch with you. I know you're there, even though
your session yesterday was very successful. There were more than 500 participants, and I was getting personal messages that they learned so much during your session and the other subsequent sessions as well. So we are looking for the participants are looking forward towards this session because establishing a sense of community and an online presence is still an area that our participants need more exposure on. So please, we can't wait to hear from you.
Thank you for your kind words and your appreciation, everyone who has mentioned me. Thanks so much. Okay, I hope what I'm sharing with you today will meet your needs. Okay, because this is difficult times and we're all struggling to create our own online community. So I hope to share what I have done and let's see how you can use it in your situations, how you can benefit yourself. So I'm going to share my slides, okay, which I prepared for this session. Okay, so today is establishing a sense of community. I actually teach this subject, community design of learning communities, in which I have this course on this semester actually. So just to share with you, this is part of our Masters of Instructional Technology. So if any of you are thinking of, so I'll promote Masters of Instructional Technology. If you're thinking of doing your Masters in this area, because we do a lot of, we try and integrate technology in our teaching, and Masters of Instructional Technology is one of the ways where you are exposed to both the practice and the research involved. So just to share with you, this was the course that I started just before the COVID. We were into week 2 or 3, okay? And I had a lot of plans for them to go and actually do research and design a learning community, online learning community. I expected them to go to a school, an institution to carry out, okay, this online learning community. And suddenly when COVID came, they couldn't do anything face-to-face. So what they had to do was to really look at online learning communities, and what happened to, I had to change all my assignments. All of us in the university, most of the lecturers had to change how we evaluate. So I had to make the assignment also a bit more lenient, that they're able to complete without, going out to the community. And until now, we're almost at the end, where we're at the Basharat phase of the lockdown, but we're still not able to communicate with our students much, except online. So actually, in the end, it became a very good challenge for our students in this particular course. They really had to do everything online, and some of them are in touch with online learning communities. And so it was a new challenge, a new thing for us. Okay, so abstract, you can just look at in BM what I'll be going, but this is the contents, ways of interacting, the knowledge community and inquiry frameworks, okay, and how to do it. My learning community, so right now, so this, the 2 classes that I have on is POA 7003 and the doctoral seminar this semester. Okay, but besides that, we were doing a little bit of play work, sharing on Microsoft Teams. But when learning started, we really had to go all out. And this is one of the courses that we did with ADAC, where they have also started doing all the training all on Microsoft Teams. So, as well as our learning management system. I think Microsoft Teams is quite interesting and very good for a learning community, because you can give a lot of encouragement, praise, thumbs up, love signs, and put lots of emojis in. Our learning management system in University Malaya is called Spectrum. So the course that I was telling about is the first one on the list. So we have our courses. I think all of you also use learning management systems. Probably have the same functions.
Yeah. So in polytechnics, we have CDOS as the learning management system. For community colleges, it would be Google Classroom.
Okay. So CDOS, I'm sure you have discussion forums there. Do you have wikis there?
Yes, and also there's a feature called the big blue button, which enables live teaching.
Video conferencing. I've used the big blue button before, but we don't have that in our Spectrum.
Right. But so CDOS 3.5 has it. CDOS 3.5, it has that feature. So next week, we'll be covering that. We'll have lecturers from Polytechnic Ungku Omang who will be covering the big blue button feature in CDOS. And then we'll also have lecturers from the community colleges teaching how to use Google Meet as the video conferencing platform to establish the learning communities, as you said.
Yeah. Learning communities. We also use Google Classroom in the university, but not so much, but more on Google Meet and Microsoft Teams right now. And of course, I wanted to share also my WhatsApp groups. I have lots of groups here. You can see my class groups. Uma is there. So IT group as well. IT. So I'm sure all of you have your learning communities on WhatsApp, right? Okay, so actually that is a learning community. And anywhere that you interact, okay, is and online or blended, half online, half face-to-face, is a learning, is a community, first of all. Okay, but whether you're learning or not, that's another thing. Okay, I use a lot of Padlet. I like to use Padlet. Okay, so this is an example of what I did for one of my courses or some of my training programs. I normally start with Padlet and get them to introduce themselves, and I can use lots of interactions like stars. Okay, show them you can easily, because it is mobile, you can easily get them to take a photo of themselves. So this, in the training session, I'm sure this one was taken by using the mobile phone. Okay, and right now, so what I'm doing is interacting on Microsoft Teams. So this is an example with the chat. So we have also done Kahoot on Microsoft Teams as well. Okay, Kahoot quizzes synchronously. But do you realize that there is a new feature specific for the COVID-19 time? I'm not sure whether it's until July or what. You can use the premium features in Kahoot for free until a certain stage. So I've also been using Kahoot Challenge. Normally the quiz is synchronous. So I'm going to test you after synchronous quiz. But there is also a challenge feature where the students can be assigned the quiz, and then they take their time. Anytime you open the timing from, let's say, 3 to 5 o'clock. Okay, so within that time, they can answer the questions. Okay, and then as they answer, they will get response. You have scored so much, you have beaten who. It's just like game kind of feature. Okay, so that's a challenge, Kahoot challenge. Okay, so you can use that now. And I've also gone onto a virtual world with my students, ways of interacting, see. So there was a time where in the middle of the lockdown, I was so boring every time doing this. So, and I found out about this virtual world. So I thought my class would like to have some time outdoors on an island, see the blue sky and the sea. So we all went for an island, okay, and we took photos there. So this, you can look at the name of the class members. Say, okay, photo time. Okay, let's stand behind here. So each one is a person, and we have been flying around in this kind of world. Okay, on
so this is the avatar.
Yes, with our avatar.
Okay,
just for a bit of fun. Unfortunately, like you see in the picture on the left, I tried to use the slides there, but because it needs a higher bandwidth, so some of them couldn't see properly, some couldn't hear properly. So in the end, we just used this for playing. I couldn't get to present the whole lecture or what you want to present, but in the end, Microsoft Teams or other means like Zoom. Okay, we did use Zoom in the beginning, but later we transferred more to Microsoft Teams.
Yeah.
So when you interact in a learning community, we hope to develop our cognitive skills. And of course, socially, we interact. And when we interact socially, then we get emotionally involved. We are happy to see our friends' messages. Okay, we get... we in fact also put a lot of emojis, love, like to some things that our friends
who would use those emojis with you? You know, the love, like, you know. Anyway, Dr. D, there's a question from Angela, and she's asking, sorry, what's the name of this cool thing where there's names on the island? Yeah.
Mozilla Hubs. Mozilla, the browser.
Okay. House. Okay. All right, cool.
HUB.
HUB, Mozilla Hub?
Mozilla Hubs.
Okay,
but be warned, high bandwidth, which we may not have available. So actually what we are hoping for is not just the fun, we are hoping for the intellectual development. Okay, so in a learning community, that is the focus. Okay, but you still need the social and emotional aspect. And I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you what theory says about it. Okay, so now Now I'd like to hear you. Can you please tell me what you think an online community is, okay, and what an online presence means? Okay, I hope you to get you to answer 2 questions, but if you cannot get 2 questions done at one time, it's okay. All right, so maybe you can pick to answer 1 question, and I have a Padlet page there. So if you have your QR code readers, yesterday I did QR code readers. I hope you have installed QR code readers now, because every time we go around, you might be asked to scan instead of writing. You know, writing, you have to hold on to your pen. There might be some virus on the pen, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so
participants, please use your smartphones. Okay, we already have some answers already.
Okay. If you have, because I think I saw the reason why I chose Padlet is because I saw quite a number of people have used Padlet. You also might have the Padlet app already installed in your phone. Okay. Then if that's the case, just look for me, Dorothy /online community.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, so let's see more answers.
Have you scanned it? So if you have arrived there, I'm going to show you what I see. Oh, sorry, I'm going to get out of this and show you my Padlet. Yeah. Okay, so Padlet, I can synchronously view what you are writing. Online community can share, upload. I'm going to give you, shall I say, 5 stars?
Wow. Okay, very generous of you.
Engagement, well, okay lah. Engagement, I give 4 stars because it is part of the community, but I mean, what you want your community to be right now. Okay. So platform where people interact. So I did not tell you how to do this, but you have already gone there. All you need to do is add by clicking on the plus sign, if you can, on your mobile phone, and you'll go into one of the columns. Okay, so click under the column that you want to write. You could also write your name there if you want us to know who you are. So I'll write something. Tell me whether I'm right or not. Oops, it moved. Sorry. Online presence on social media. And with this, you can actually link. I'm sure you know, you can link to documents. If you're using a mobile, you're using a web camera, you can even take a photo. So, and of course, you can link to web pages, upload documents, okay, and so on. So, okay, I'll put this in the dustbin. Mind and soul presence. Wow. Being there while online, not just physically, but really participate. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone in online directory? Okay, let's see who is in the online directory. I know if you search, Dr. Uma is very active online. I'm not so active. Okay, so I guess that is what you mean by online directory. Being present, leaving your footprint online. Okay, I'm going to give you a 4. Okay, mind and soul presence. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Probably if you tell me more. Okay, so I could go down the list and get good sharing. Thank you. Group of people together on a journey doing things with a common goal. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you feel if I give you a 5-star. Do you feel happy? And I'm so sorry that those I gave a lower star ranking, you might be feeling very sad. Get the attention. I understand what you mean. Okay, but the good thing about Padlet is that you can respond. Okay, so I don't know whether this is anonymous. Say he's happy that he got the 5-star. Okay, platform, online community, a platform. The Community itself is the members, but we interact on a platform. So I'm going to give you 3 stars. Work together online, I guess. Yes, that is very, very good. YHJ, I think that you wanted to answer YHJ, but you didn't answer. Interact together. Okay. Thank you very much for your answers. Dr. G, online collaboration and communication. Fantastic. Okay. Interaction, relationships. Can share more resources. Okay, I don't have time to go through everybody's one and star it. Okay, but I'll do it later. Virtual community. So I know very much you know what online communities are. Okay, a WhatsApp group. When you are in a WhatsApp group and you're in a community, okay, do we have the same ideas, the same ideals? If you don't, okay, if you always object and say this is wrong, you might get kicked out of the group, right? So the admin might just, take you out of the group. An online community must have a single purpose or a similar purpose, shared ideals. Okay, so those who say they share ideas and other things, okay, this is because they all have one way of thinking. They have similar thinking. Maybe they came from the same background, like same school, same group of people who have been having fun together, or same group of people working together. Okay, so you have a similar purpose, and that's why these things matter to you. Wow, you see, someone has even used highlighter. Very good, being present at the same time. Sharing stuff using common platform. Thank you.
That was okay.
Okay, all right. I think I have to move on because of the time factor.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for all your answers.
Thank you, participants, for being a part and actually participating and showing your presence in this session. Else it'll just be a boring one way, with WebEx, the platform. I think that's a limitation. But also thank you to Dr. Roti for coming up with this idea and, walking the talk of, creating your online presence here, and, not just saying theoretically, but yes, thank you. Yeah. And thank you for being a spot. Yeah, the participants as well.
Actually, what I did was just the activation stage. I haven't gone into the real teaching, But I got to know what you know. And I know you know a lot. Okay, so from there, I know you already know what a community is. You already have an idea of an online community. And nobody said that it's just being on social media. So an online presence is not just being a social influencer, or social media influencer, because there's a lot of young people, old people as well, who are social media influencers, who are going out there, making their YouTube videos, going on Instagram and all that, posting, selling things online, now especially with COVID. So online presence is not just doing that. Nobody said that actually. So you all know everything. Maybe I don't even have to teach. I don't have to teach anything. Okay, but I'll tell you what theory says. So there is a model called knowledge community and inquiry model. Okay, where it says, in order to design a curriculum for an online community, you need to get them to work together. And everyone needs to be accountable. Traditional classroom, they say, okay, cikgu accountable. The teacher is the one. You don't do anything, teacher, cikgu, I'm not going to do anything. But in an online community, the responsibility goes down to the students themselves. Okay, they have to decide what they want to learn, what they learn. The principles, should be, they need to develop their own knowledge base. The content. This content may actually be found in books, may be found online. So, but they must get the responsibility to collect the content collectively, get it put together. Okay. There should also be opportunities for them to collaborate. Okay. And learning outcomes that you're going to do, so assessment. Okay. will have to be different. It cannot just be should not be just the paper and text, pen and paper kind of assessment. Now, of course, everything is online. It should be more continuous assessment. So the knowledge base, you can always monitor what the students put, okay, and remove what is not or totally not relevant. Or you could also even add on things that they should look at. So what's the teacher's role then?
As a curator?
Moderator,
Curator. As a content curator, so you create, you curate what are the best artifacts out there. You curate it for your students.
But the teacher need not have the sole responsibility. Huh?
Yes, correct. So it's a common goal. So everybody curates. There's so much of material online available online. So students should curate the content. Of course, choose the materials meaningfully and all. Yeah.
So what I have done. So what you see here is my Microsoft Teams page. These are the theories that I have to complete in my course. Okay, so I have assigned individuals, okay, for each of these theories. So they have their own, this is a channel, okay. So they have their own channels where they have done their presentations on the theory, and they have to continue maintaining the discussions on their theory. So there might be people among the students in the class who question, how is this theory different from mine? How do you apply? So I'm the, in what, if Malay, you say you cucuk or not. Cucuk means you, from the students, hey, ask him this or ask her that. Okay, so I give them ideas sometimes, on what should be or what's missing or what should be important, more important to focus on. But I try to avoid really interfering, unless sometimes at the end when I make a roundup of or summary of what they have done.
I think that's also your way of teaching, where you do not give us the answers directly. You make us answer ourselves, but you would chucho and make us think. Like you would question us in a way until the answer comes from the student herself or himself. So I think that's your chucho method, which works all the time. Yeah.
Okay, but then don't quote me. That doesn't sound very good. Chucho.
Poke. It's even used in the poke. Okay.
Yeah. So in what is that app in Facebook, right? You have that poke, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the curriculum actually doesn't take one class or two classes. It will have to be built up over a couple of weeks. So in this case, my case is a few semesters. First few weeks, especially when we came into that COVID-19 situation, people were so stunned and don't know what to do, including myself. But once we've got used, okay, we have to reassign everything, redo the activities, then you assign, designate, more concrete, okay, that's what you're going to do. So get them into groups, inquiry activities, get them to find out things, okay? And this is my community knowledge base. So all these things are important for them to know in this class and would be in for my assessment. So my assessment now is a take-home exam for 6 hours.
Wow.
Okay. So what, according to the knowledge community inquiry model, you have scripts. These scripts are the activities, okay, that should include student contributing the content through social media or any small community which can give them praise and thumbs up, okay, to make them happy. So there's a socializing, networking effect there. And the activities are such as designing things, okay, debating with one another. So in this class, it's actually design of learning community. So they're designing, it may not be something concrete like a chair, you come up with a chair in the end, but it is a community where we interact with one another. So lecturers, teachers, you can actually design. So when they say design-based learning, okay, design-based research, if you want to do research, is how you design your learning, your teaching. Okay, whether it's flipped or problem-based or combination, okay, you design it and you check out whether evaluate, what I mean is evaluate whether it works or not and what needs to be improved. Okay, so it's a continuous improvement for ourselves as lecturers. Okay, we want to find out what works best, and next round we improve it better. So next round, when there's no COVID, you make sure you have improved your delivery method in case there are other emergencies, or in case you want to go online or do a blended learning approach, you'll be good at it.
Yeah.
So I've also used wikis. This one here you see is a wiki done by the students on their theory, okay, like knowledge creation theory. So these are the concepts. So I've given them the outline. You must have an introduction, concepts, practical use, okay, and then in your concepts, actually I do have a kind of presentation. The students do present to me first what they know about the theory, and I do give them feedback together with the class. We all give each other feedback on how to improve, and then go on to wiki for further feedback, because sometimes when you write out, it looks different. So with all this feedback, then only final assignment. Okay, so the instructor, collaborator, mentor, and conductor. Conductor meaning like music conductor. You do this, you do that. Hopefully. Hopefully it works. I know students are sometimes very difficult to get them moving. So how? Okay, we'll discuss that later. Oh, I forgot to tell you, after I finish presenting, there'll be a quiz. So make sure you're listening. So teachers are not just a guide, okay, but you have a scripted role. So you have a certain script. I must do this if I see students don't doing this. If I see students responding correctly, I can add or give a praise, add some comments, and so on. So actually, I have a script. Okay. And that is my orchestra. So my script actually looks at the physical and the technology environment. Okay, so sometimes your script may change. I got this yesterday from one of my students. I also assigned them reflections. Now this is very important because when you're doing online learning, I asked permission, by the way, from my students. So Normala has greatly, kindly consented for us to view what she has done. You may be overwhelmed by all the training, all the teaching that you're doing, especially when it's online. It's very scattered. I found this and then I found that. So what is very important, and I'm sure Dr. Uma will agree, because in her thesis also she has used this theory, you need to have reflections. So reflections enable you to sit back and think, what did I learn? Okay, what's important to me? What's important to my practice when I go out to work for the students? So I provide them a situation or an assignment actually that they have to complete at the end of the semester. By right, it should be weekly reflections, but because of the COVID situation, and classes, like I tell you, for 2-3 weeks was lost, more or less. Okay, so I had to rethink and minimize or had a minimal of 10 reflections. Okay, and I wanted them to do a lot of video reflections and poster reflections. This is done on Canva. Okay, poster design tool. In fact, Canva has more than just posters. There are many templates.
Yeah, templates.
And it's a free tool that you can use with beautiful ideas. So a knowledge building idea, building knowledge within the community. So that is what you want in your community building framework. You need to have a different epistemology. Sorry for using such a big word, okay? But it depends on your theory of teaching and learning. If you think that learning is all the knowledge that Cikgu has poured into the student, that is a very behaviorist concept. That's a different epistemology. It may not be applicable in this kind of design. Okay, so in a knowledge building community, you should be allowing students to contribute. Okay, so there should be more of an equality kind of thing, and in that way we get actually diverse ideas. Okay, because sometimes we are good in our subject area, but students themselves, maybe they have some experience somewhere, they have seen videos somewhere, they have worked part-time. Okay, some of them are working adults also, right? Okay, so they have their own experiences which you can actually make use of. Okay, so there's like idea diversity, improvable ideas, real ideas. These are concepts in the knowledge building platform. And knowledge building is a theory that's used in organization. Okay, and in organizations means when you're at work. Okay, so it's something that our students we are preparing for the workforce, actually they get to build their own knowledge. So one of the aspects is democratizing knowledge, ensuring that you know and we know everyone has the right to contribute. Okay, so then only we can do lots of knowledge building. Okay, so you're free to go to this website, okay, by Normala, and have a look at her reflections on knowledge building. So getting your students to reflect, it's not just a assessment, but it's a necessity actually for learning. So you too, after all your training, okay, that has been organized for you, you should be reflecting as well. How are you going to make use of the training to build your online learning communities? Okay. For example, so just to show you an example of what kind of conversations we have. Okay, so I wanted to not say my student's name, but okay, I'll say last. Helmi has put in his PowerPoint slides, okay, because I thought to protect their. But I did ask some of them in the class. Okay, so this is the support. I agree with what he has said, okay, and I add on things that maybe they didn't consider, or maybe to integrate again, so students tend to look for when the lecturer writes, because they think that the lecturer knows everything. Okay, so, and it's true. I mean, you have to monitor. Just like Dr. Uma was telling me, John Goodman said he can see what everybody is doing or writing or calculating, and then he's there checking what is right and wrong, right? So they're checking what is right and wrong.
Yeah, so he gives, so again, instant feedback. Feedback is really valuable to students, especially in online learning communities. So that's why you establish your teaching presence and student social presence as well. Yeah.
I'm going to go more into that. We have come up with our own notebook at Microsoft. So when you're doing Microsoft Sway and all that, notebook is one of the things. So actually we can come up with a physical book, okay, with all the theories that we are doing. Physical online book, okay, which can be physical. So what Dr. Uma just mentioned about the presences, okay, cognitive presence there, Garrison, Anderson, and Archer, okay, they came up with a few categories because from their analysis of what goes on online in online communications for teaching and learning. Okay, one aspect is cognitive presence, where they start thinking. Cognitive here is thinking. So there's a sense of puzzlement. What about this idea? And they start to exchange information. So that's exploration. Okay, I found this here. Is this the right answer? Okay, and maybe they can integrate, okay, Helmi's answer, whose answer, okay, these answers seem the same and they start to connect, or maybe this is different from Helmi's answer. So what does it do? Okay, so there's a bit of integration there. And then resolution is when they actually come up with their own ideas. Maybe this is the right way. Okay, so we are actually looking for the cognitive processes that goes on in the learning community, and social presence, the emotions, you're not afraid to make mistakes. You can, so also depends if they are afraid of making mistakes because the teacher says you're wrong, okay, they may not open up so much. So have a risk-free environment. It's okay. I always tell them it's okay to make mistakes now, okay, when you're on that learning environment. But later in the exam or in the final assignments, that's the time when you need to be correct.
Okay.
So,
Dr. There are questions from the participants. What about the mindset of the students? How are we to inspire students, because they expect us to be the sage on the stage rather than a facilitator. To them, if we are the sage, then learning occurs. So how do you inspire them to change that mindset?
Yeah, and that has been like ingrained into them from, primary school, secondary school. Teacher is always teaching. Okay. So you have to me, I think if you look at the American schools, Australian schools, the teachers don't teach that way. It is not so much a behaviorist model. They try to encourage the students to create and test out hypotheses. So it's a very difficult task, by the time they reach you, they may not be used to that. But for me, I tell them very clearly at the beginning of the semester, when I start in class, I will tell them, this is my framework.
My framework.
I'm a social constructivist, okay? And I need you to know that. And I need you to know also that I will not, fault you for mistakes that you make within the confinement of the classroom. Okay, that means you can say anything wrong, we can correct each other. Okay, but in exams, in final assessment, final assessments, final assignments, okay, then you have to be correct. So I tell them my expectations right at the beginning. So this is one of the things, which I'm going to mention as well. Okay.
Yeah, and this resonates with John himself. He also mentioned that telling our students during for example, like during my thesis, I mentioned in the orientation phase itself, we establish what our expectations are for this session, and this is how it's going to be. And it's much clearer when both parties understand. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, and then there's another one which I'll tell later. Okay. So a lot is in the cognitive, social, and teaching presence. You need to have that, okay, and attitude. Now, this one, Garrison and Anderson didn't come up with attitude, but later a lot of researchers mentioned the need for developing attitudes, and I agree, because if you have a positive attitude, okay, if you have fun with your students, with in your course, it is more likely that they will also start thinking better and show more of a social presence. So it's risk-free. Okay, they can have fun together with you, or they can explore together with you. So that aspect of attitude, I think, comes out very nicely in the 5-stage model of online learning. Okay, this is for Gilly Selman, and she says that in any online learning, okay, when she did. She's an Australian. So actually in Australia, they're very good with online learning because if you know history, yes, because
geographically, New Zealand and Australia, there are a lot of remote areas. So I think that's why online learning prevailed there, and it even began in country, in Australia and New Zealand.
They started distance learning first, and their distance learning was a kind of remote learning, which they used ham radio in the early days. My time lah, they use ham radio. Okay, no computers and all that. But now, of course, today is online with computers. So I think they are ahead, in many things, in terms of technology. Okay, and she says, so you start from the bottom. The first part is you ensure access and motivation. Make sure they can access the platform. Make sure all of them have the platform, have the means to use it. That means that high bandwidth, low bandwidth, and all that. You have to check with your students. Okay, can they access it? And then welcome them, have fun. So for me, I normally spend my first class, or if it's a training session, a whole session on motivating them, having fun with them. Okay, Then after you do that, okay, let's have some fun, and then we go online, building an online identity. So we start socializing. So we start to identify, this person, because what you do is you have to ask them to share. If you saw my Padlet earlier on, one of them was, or both of them, the first few Padlets, that I should work on introducing themselves. So I get to know them, their names. Okay, when I have a class, I'll ask them more. Okay, what's their background? What are they interested in? What kind of research they want to do?
So the icebreaker activities, you mean? The icebreaker activities, they can be done on Padlet.
So actually for me, it's even more than icebreaker, because you want them to be present online, right?
Yes.
So this is actually building their online presence. Okay? So I know who they are, and especially if it's totally distance learning, like what we are doing now, totally remote, we don't have any background on the student. We really don't know them. So it's more than just the ice breaking. Get them to show you a little bit about themselves, their life, their interests. Okay, so actually students, I don't know about your students, but I think most students don't want to show you everything, or they only want to show you the good things, right? Because there's a lot of not so nice things. They might be criticizing people here and there and all that. So, okay, it's okay. So their online identity in your class may be different from their online identity on social media. That's okay. Okay, but based on the expectations that you have, okay, make sure that online identity fits in. So you expect them to be giving, to be sharing. So that has to be built up from the beginning. I normally have 1 or 2 classes, socializing and accessing with them. And that means the first class is always more of a orientation, and second class building online identities. Then only they are willing to share information. So with groups, that's why, like you said, like the mindset, building up their mindset, they are not used to sharing. Many of them have been, information I learn for myself only, I don't share. So this is in itself a very different way of learning. Only if you have this can you start building ideas. So actually we're aiming for students who are independent, who don't need the lecturer. Can your students be that?
That would be the ideal, and I think it's a process. Of course, it won't happen overnight. Dr. Dorothy, of course, I'm sure you agree with me. It takes some time, but again, it's the enculturation of being independent. That's why I think John mentioned about setting up the individual space and setting up the group space. So you should know how to work independently, also be able to work in a group, towards the ideal, which is to be independent.
So ideally, yes, all our students should achieve the independent stage. Okay, but sometimes you, the lecturer, have to push a little bit. I have to chocho. Okay, but that is our aim. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes it does happen. You look at your students. Some of them you find they are coming out with their own ideas, and they'll probably ask you, "Can I do this? Can I try this?" Okay, so that is actually going towards independence already. Okay, they are already moving forward. So if you have got those kind of students, congratulations. Okay, but it's not easy. It takes a lot of work on our side as well. But getting attitude and social presence done helps. Once they know who you are, what kind of support you can give them, they will probably start thinking. They will start to dare think. Okay, so this is an example of a class. Okay, how you set up the phase. The first participants check and access wikis, what they have to do, briefing sessions, okay, and then the training session, there's some kind of personal contact for online socialization, okay, then they start to get feedback and information given. So all throughout, the instructor is actually moderating and checking, okay. So this is an example of a knowledge construction and vicarious learning. What's vicarious learning? So attitude is to be built up, social presence, teaching, so giving feedback while they share. Beginning, you may need to give more feedback. I always tell my students, I said, I'm not going to give you feedback. But in the beginning, especially if you notice something wrong, you may need to step in and tell them. So what's important is designing your tasks. Remember, teacher is the orchestra, the activities. So try to give them activities that are not right, wrong, or have only one correct answer. Activities that provide discussion, divergent views, justify, tell me, reflect. Okay, so these are the kind of activities that help create a discussion. Okay? And then you start to also chuchuk them lah. What about this? What about that? Okay, so that's the moderator. Okay, moderator support. Okay, give suggestions if there are any of you interested in reading about the difference between moral and character education. Okay, see where you can get the article. Okay, so this is how you can moderate. Give them support and they're more likely start sharing. So in the first online environment, the moderator needs to create a social presence. So you also have to be social with them. Okay, then you start teaching. So teaching is not just giving facts. Okay, make sure they are thinking as well. Thinking. So are they comparing? What about this person's idea? Do you agree? Okay, and then you ask person, tell me what you think. Does his idea say, is it similar with yours? Okay, and ensuring the attitude. Sometimes you do get flamers, students who are very angry, okay, because they also may have some personal issues. So that's something to look out for, and that's your role. You have to check with the person, what is the issue? Was there any problem? There was maybe a quarrel between the members. Okay, so those kind of things you may have to moderate and check. Just like people fighting in the class, online also you also have people fighting. Okay, so however, to be a good moderator, you still need to know how to use the technology. Okay. One way is knowing what to do online, but technology is also important. So what I am telling you is a situated perspective of learning. Yesterday in my class, I covered associationist and cognitive perspectives. Today, building a knowledge learning community is actually a situated perspective of learning, where you learn in a social, cultural context. You learn from people around you. So in order to do that, it needs to be meaningful to you. Okay, I like this picture here. You see, can you see who is the expert in this picture? Who are the experts who are talking a lot? And can you see who is the novice who is not so sure about what they're talking about? You can look at their body language.
Yeah, so the one with the arms, this way, so it's like in a more reserved position, is probably the novice who's trying to make sense of what's happening.
Yeah. And also after that, you look at the hair color lah. The old
yeah.
Probably it's more experience, not the blonde one lah. Okay, so yes. So in the beginning, those who are experts will have a lot of things to say. Okay, and those who are novice, they will naturally, okay, you are the smarter ones. I don't think you want my opinion. Okay, but we must help to develop them. In a situated perspective, ideally, everybody contributes in. Okay, and it depends on the context. So every situation, every class is different. Okay, and situated perspective should be in more informal. That means actually it's more workplace learning. So it's very important, especially in TVET, because you are going out into the work environment.
World of work.
So problem-based learning is also one aspect of this perspective. Okay, so you use activities, you motivate them, okay, and this motivation is increased by social forces. That means if you are encouraging, if you as a teacher, if your friends are also encouraging their peers in the classroom, then they'll be more likely to contribute and come up with more ideas. Okay. So this aspect of beginners and experienced members, right in the center, who is more active would be the expert team. Okay, but the beginners are out there at the periphery. However,
my apologies, Dr. Dorothy. We have about 5 more minutes left. Yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
Probably I won't be able to give you a test, lah. Okay, never mind.
But yeah, we are looking forward to your online pedagogies. Yeah, the online pedagogies section.
Okay, all right. So I think I'll go on. So what I want to tell you is, don't think that they are not learning when they are online. They are actually seeing others learn. Even though they don't contribute, there is actually learning going on. So this is a concept of the community of practice. When you have a stable, high-level group, experts in the middle, so lecturers are in the expert group, right? And your students, they are in the beginners group, and they want to be experts like you. They need to participate, okay? But sometimes they are not motivated or they don't have the skills yet. So what you need to do is to actually reduce that gap so that they become more experienced if they are not expert. So let them interact, communicate with you. So you have problems to solve. So sometimes everybody is actively contributing, okay, to the discussion. Sometimes they are lurkers. So is this a problem?
Yes, I think this is a global issue as well, and probably we might be facing it as well, where 90% of the students might be just, lurkers, and only that 1% would be the heavy contributors.
But I say, don't be too concerned, because sometimes these lurkers are also watching and learning. Get them, of course, yes, try to get them to interact, but don't be too afraid. Okay, but finally, it is in the test, in the assessment that you give them. If they are able to communicate or tell you what you need to know, what you want, then they have completed. Okay, so I tell you what, since we don't have time, I'm going to change this to a challenge, so you can do it within, we'll decide afterwards, okay, maybe half an hour after this, to complete within half an hour after this. Okay, yeah. Oh yes. Okay. I'll start out the challenge. Should I start the challenge? Okay. I have to change the challenge. So the online pedagogies, okay, so this is what you're waiting for, right? So how to teach it? Probably you'll need a combination of perspectives, okay, including the associationists and cognitivists. That means maybe you may need to deliver some content. So that content, that must have content, whether you're going to do it flipped, okay, or before the class starts, it should be chunked into small segments. This is based on cognitivist thinking, because you cannot have too long videos, too much content, pages of content. But if you want to have a long video, yes, you can, but with lots of interaction and stops in between. Okay, and when you organize your content, so that's why maybe when we look through content, we say always it's not suitable. We should organize it according to our students' difficulty, from simple contents to more difficult. So that may mean you doing the content yourself, because sometimes YouTube not suitable for our students, language not suitable, and all that. So you may have to treat it as an investment. You do it today. You can use it for several years, 2 years, maybe before the content changes. Okay, and content curation tools like Blend Space may help. So I do Blend Space with my training and teaching also sometimes. Okay, so I intersperse with reading of materials, you see articles, okay, and quizzes to check whether they have understood their article. So this is teacher as content curator. Okay, so I'm curating the content. Okay, and of course I also curate my content on my learning management system. So they have to go step 1, step 2, lecture notes, step 2, do what? Okay, discussion, maybe provide a discussion forum, and so on. So I've told you yesterday, 5 minutes viewing of video is long enough. Okay, so you're here how many minutes already? If you're here, you really have long attention span. Use things like
because you are very engaging. I think you're very engaging, you see. So
I guess Dr. Uma is too. Thank you, Dr. Uma. Okay, so in our learning management system, we have H5P, which is something developed by Harvard, which we have more or less bought or with an MOU. We have added this for interactive content and quizzes in our learning management system. I'm sure CTOS also has something like that, right?
Yeah.
So interaction to ensure presence, not only your presence, but students' present during video lectures and all that. You interact. So it can be an interaction through a question that you're giving, not necessarily you interrupting the video. It can be formative assessments that they have to do, okay, such as quizzes, Padlet, mind mapping activities. Okay, the more frequent the interactions to make them think, that means you have a cognitive and social presence, and you are teaching. So that would also help to build up the attitude, students' attitude. And noise, this is actually in the online interaction, sometimes there's a lot of noise by students, meaning they talk about things that are totally not related. Okay, I'm sure when you do, even in our WhatsApp groups, sometimes totally nonsense actually, but you're just having fun. It may contribute to attitude, or maybe it may not. It might be a complaint or something. We want to actually reduce noise, of course, and reduce teaching so that it's not so difficult for you as a teacher. So we aim to reduce the teaching presence finally so that students are more independent. So try to make sure the tasks are meaningful tasks. Like I like to use things that the students can relate to. Design, this is something on what do you call Janaya Cyber, which is a current problem as they go online. Okay, so find out more about this, and this is in a counseling class. It's not IT class. Okay, and made them do posters. So our team was Janaya Cyber for several weeks, and then after that they created materials such as posters and sometimes videos at the end of the class. Find out, get a bit of data through their social media, through their friends, things like this. I ask the students to collect the data. How many of them can access, or how many in the class have Google Documents, use Google Documents. Reading assignment, I give a reading assignment, and then after that they have to create their posters based on the information in the reading that they have read. So this is quite high-level skills because they have to summarize it. Okay, so based on the context that they are familiar, so this is actually video. So in order to create a video, they have to do a storyboard. Okay, assessments, formative, summative, student-generated content, getting students to generate things that I can see, artifacts, which include images, including posters, mind maps, okay, writing, reports on how many can access Google Documents or know how to use Google Documents. Okay, and this is Canva. Okay, how you can design anything.
Yeah, with the various templates, and it gives you a professional look, and they can create it in minutes. Yeah.
And the great thing is you can share it on Instagram after that.
Yes.
On Facebook or whatever social media.
Yeah.
And you have other tools like Lucid Chart is one that I do. Okay, so this was on dengue. Okay, the problem was how to solve or convey information about dengue. So what are the phases: activation, demonstration, and so on. Okay, so this is on Lucid Chart. It has many templates, and Padlet, you have tried it out. So production activities are very motivating for students because then they get to build their own identity. So everyone, not everyone, the community that they are in recognizes them and remembers them, and especially it was something that was fun and engaging. Okay, they remember them by that identity. That's how they build. Students build their own online identity, and you as a teacher also build your online presence. So WhatsApp, of course, Facebook Live. I don't expect you to do Facebook Live all the time, okay, but it is a method of creating videos. It's actually video and video conferencing as well. Okay, now are you supposed to be there 24 hours? So I think this is the part that is difficult for us. We need to have our online office hours. I am available from what time to what time. You set the office hours because we don't want them, you know, at the middle of the night, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Some of our lecturers are okay. They are wide awake at 2 o'clock. If that's your office hour, okay. But for me, I need my beauty sleep. So you set the office hours, and I also tell my students, I will only view your online discussions on 3 days a week. Okay, probably 135 or something like that. Okay, so because I have not got the time to be there all the time, because we are doing other things as well. I have many classes. So set your expectations, set the time that you will view their work. Okay, negotiate something reasonable. Tell them what you expect. So one way to help manage is their discussions online. Assign marks for online discussion. That's what I do. So I will give discussion forum. You must participate. How many posts that you make, the quality of your post. Okay, so there's a rubric for me to mark. This discussion will be 1 mark of the total. Okay, 100% in your whole course. So that would help encourage them. But you have to set all this right in the beginning, not halfway. Okay, so then they know and they realize they have to contribute, then they will work at it. Okay, and MIM, mobile text messaging, like WhatsApp, for management of what goes on in the class. You also need to build up peer support. That means try and get student support to support each other and look for alternative assessments and how you're going to allocate your marks. So your expectations, like on the online discussions, production, or that, tell them right in the beginning so they know what to expect. Okay, so I'm already at the end. So this is back again to this 5-stage model. I believe first you need to ensure access and motivation and socialization. Then only your students can be more independent. So that's how to build up the mind change. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for your sharing, Dr. Dot. There's just one last question from the panel. So from a student's point of view, now if all educators are, using online technology filled with various pedagogies, now what would their weekly experience be like? Would they be, excited to attend each and every class, or will they be feeling technologically numb by the end of the week? Now, is there such thing as are we going to overdo it? And so where do we strike the balance? Yeah. So what's your take on this?
I'm sure the students are overburdened, and especially if you are just giving them content and they are, this again. So unfortunately, it means that we also need to motivate them to learn. We also need to explore new ways of doing things, okay, and be more interactive, give them activities, give them something to look forward to, like a quiz, a challenge, or something like that. I'm sure listening to 2-hour lectures, 1-hour lecture also enough is very tiring. Okay? And you all have been so patient. So I actually should give you a quiz to make you relax.
Okay.
So when I play, you can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yes.
This can be a self-paced learning challenge. So today is the 10th. Okay.
Yes.
You must complete this by what time? Let's see. Okay, 2 p.m. So
today or tomorrow?
Today, right? I put today. So I'm going to copy the URL, and where shall I put it? Shall I put it on my PowerPoint slides? Okay. So Dr. Umar may want to. This is terrible. I can click on this. Okay, let's click on the. Let me see. Can I access the chat? I have not.
Yes, you can.
I can. To all participants. Okay.
Yes.
So I put it there. Hopefully, when you click on this, you can access the challenge. So challenge means I don't have to play like how normal Kahoot is played, where you for the questions to be shown, you can interact in your own time. Okay, so I will stop sharing now.
Yeah, I think, okay, firstly, thank you so much. I think we have covered a lot of questions today. I think you've got us to start thinking more seriously on how better can we, manage this whole online learning shift, fully online learning shift. So if there are any other questions, I think they can contact you directly to, via your email, dorothy@um.edu.my. Hafal already, okay? Okay, so unfortunately, we're out of time today. So once again, I would like to thank Associate Professor Dr. Dorothy Dewitt for joining us today and providing her first-hand experience. And this now concludes our presentation. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. So we'll see you at 3 p.m. for the next session, where I'll be sharing, what I'm going to share is lesson planning using Merrill's first principles of instructions and cognitive apprenticeship. A bit of key takeaways from John's session, key takeaways from Dr. Dorothy's session yesterday and today. Some takeaways from the professors yesterday, Prof. Ross Hunt's a key takeaway from his sessions, because I was paying attention to all. But let's try to make this all link together, and I'll see you all at 3 p.m. So thank you so much again, Dr. Dorothy Dewitt.
Dr. Uma, there's a question there that they asked. Game pin, no need game pin number. So you're not used, this is a different form of Kahoot. No need game pin.
Right. So just click the link and you'll be directed to the Kahoot challenge. Okay. So which is a special. Yeah, I got to see that during the pandemic, so many applications, these platforms, they actually opened up more to educators. So I think that's, just being kind as everybody was in it together, because this pandemic is not only restricted to a certain country. All of us as people are living in this planet are affected by it. So without further ado, thank you so much again. Thank you, participants, for being a part. So the videos will be uploaded to our website for those of you all who missed it. So thank you again. Have a good day, Dr. Dorothy.
Thank you very much. Have fun, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.